Guys, we have an urgent breaking news coming out. Russia tests Yars ICBM in nuclear drill supervised by Vladimir Putin. Moscow just flexed its nuclear muscle. Wow. All right, so once again, this is a big breaking news coming out right now. I want to show you something else here too, guys. Do me a favor, hit that like, hit that subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Thank you again for your support. Russia warns of nuclear clash with NATO. Putin oversees major Russian nuclear drills. So we're going to get to all this news here, guys. Before I start, for those of you that want to send us letters or prayer requests, you can send it to me, US Santiago, or my wife, Jessica Santiago, at 3432 US Highway 19, number 2, Holiday, Florida, 34691. And for those of you that want to help and support the channel, we do have the Cash App link and the PayPal link in the comments box and also description box. Thank you again for your support. Your support is what keeps us on air. This video notifications was not sent out. YouTube usually send out 3 notifications depending on the time, but this one here, you guys did not receive the notification. With your support and help, please share this video. Share it on your post here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter. Give this video a thumbs up. The more thumbs up, the better. All right. Hopefully one day YouTube changes their policy when it comes to notifications, but we only get 3 per day. Follow me on Twitter and Telegram for all notifications. All right. So once again, Russia tests Yars ICBM in nuclear drills supervised by Putin. Now, Moscow flexed its nuclear muscles as part of today's strategic nuclear forces exercise. The Bear country launched a Yars intercontinental ballistic missile from its central region towards the Kura test range in Kamchatka. Guys, that's where the 8.8 magnitude earthquake hit. Kamchatka. Alright, so the launch was overseen by Putin, who was personally briefed during the drills, part of what Moscow calls a schedule readiness exercise. Though the timing feels anything but routine, the Yars, capable of carrying multiple nuclear warheads over 11,000 kilometers, is a key pillar of Russia's land-based deterrent. It's designed to evade missile defenses and deliver a clear message. The Bear nuclear triad, land, sea, and air, remains fully operational. Routine testing with a little nuclear theater and global audience. Wow. So once again, this is where we are right now. Russia warns of nuclear clash with NATO. Once again, please share the video, guys. You have the Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei warned that NATO's increasingly hostile posture, including expanded nuclear deployments and missile defense system, risk triggering a direct clash between nuclear powers, further undermining global arms control efforts. So they putting out their warnings, guys, the nuclear warnings. This is a wake-up call. Vladimir Putin, the Bear leader, launched a nuclear exercise on Wednesday, during which ICBMs capable of striking the US and cruise missile were launched, the Kremlin announced. The drill came a day after an expected meeting between the US Commander-in-Chief and Putin to discuss ending the Bear war with Ukraine was abruptly called off. It was called off yesterday, and today they just test fire ICBM. That's crazy. The exercises involved the Bear full nuclear triad, land-based, sea-based, and airborne assist, according to the statement reported by the Bear State RIA news agency on Telegram. Jeez. Look at that room. That thing looks nice. It's like Star Trek stuff going on there. Wow. Welcome to the future. I guarantee this is hidden somewhere under bunker or something. Man, that looks clean. That looks nice. And Putin looks, yeah, he's aging. He's up there now. Now, during the exercise, a Yars intercontinental ballistic was launched from the Plesetsk Cosmodrome, and the Tu-95MS strategic bombers conducted air-launched cruise missile strikes, the Kremlin said. A strategic submarine cruiser launched a ballistic missile from the Barents Sea. The exercise tested the level of preparedness of the military command and the practical skills of the operational personnel in the organizing the control of subordinate forces, the Kremlin said. All exercise tasks were completed. The White House announces the U.S. Commander-in-Chief and Putin summit is off. The tests come amid high tensions between the Bear and the West. NATO began military exercises last week. Now, the U.S. commander is trying to bring an end to the war in Ukraine that has devastated large parts of the country. The Bear invaded Ukraine in February of 2022. However, on Tuesday, an expected summit between the U.S. Commander-in-Chief and Vladimir Putin to be held in Budapest, Hungary, was called off. When stuff like that is called off, obviously something went wrong, which is not a good sign. It's not a good sign. When very important dialogue, like a peace agreement or something, is called off, something went wrong. And we're not being told what's going on here. Everything is, tight-lipped behind closed doors. But we are seeing the signs. We are seeing the nuclear test. We are seeing all this the UK is going to be sending possibly some troops to Ukraine. And again, it's just, the signs are out there. We are seeing everything. Now, the White House said there were no plans for the U.S. Commander-in-Chief to meet with Putin in the immediate future. Once again, the Bear rejects the U.S. Commander-in-Chief battle lines. The White House statements came after the Bear reiterated its peace terms, including Ukraine giving up the entire Donbas region, Reuters reported, citing 3 unnamed sources. It says here, speaking to reporters, the U.S. Commander-in-Chief said that during a meeting on Friday with Ukrainian leader Zelensky, there had been no discussion that Kiev should cede the Donbas. Again, those are the regions that was annexed in 2022, which is Lviv, Zaporizhia, Luhansk, I believe, and I forget the name of the other ones. I actually apologize. But also you have Crimea that was annexed back in 2014. All right, so the U.S. Commander-in-Chief said the war should just stop at the lines, what they are, the battle lines, which would mean the Bear keeping large parts of Ukraine, the eastern part I just mentioned. The problem is that you have the NATO and Zelensky, they don't want to give up those territory. All right, so give me a second here, guys. I want to go back to this one really quick and see if there's any updates. Let me just refresh this page really quick. Okay, so we do have some more updates. So once again, the Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei has warned that the hostile policy of NATO countries could lead to a head-on clash between nuclear powers, speaking during a webinar hosted by the Center for Energy and Security Studies. You have Rybakov cited U.S. deployments in Europe, joint nuclear missions and plans to weaponize space as destabilizing moves that compel Russia to take compensatory military technical measures. Now, the remarks came as Putin oversaw a major nuclear exercise involving intercontinental equipments, strategic bombers, and submarine launched ballistic. Now, the Kremlin released footage of the drills, which I just showed you at the very beginning of this video, which followed the abrupt cancellation of a planned summit between Putin and the US Commander-in-Chief. Now, something is wrong here, guys. Something is wrong. Something went wrong. And they canceled the meeting, and then today they test launched a ICBM. Something is wrong here. So keep your eyes open. Once again, you have the, I'm going to skip that name there, comments, highlight Russia's growing alarm over NATO annual nuclear deterrence drills and the modernization of Western arsenal. Now, his warning coincides with heightened tensions over Ukraine and the collapse of arms control framework like the INF Treaty. Now, raising fears of a renewed arms race and strategic miscalculation. Once again, you have the Kremlin nuclear triad, demonstration, guys, and rejection of Trump proposed peace terms for the Ukraine war signal a hardening stance that could complicate diplomatic effort to end the conflict. So it says here, once again, this person condemned the U.S.-led development of a global missile defense system and a forward deployment of intermediate-range missiles. He also warned against plans to militarize space, calling it a transformation of the domain into a combat environment. Now, Putin's nuclear drill tested the readiness of the bare land, sea, and air base strategic forces. The Kremlin confirmed successful launches of a Yars ICBM cruise missiles from the Tu-95MS bombers and a ballistic missile from a submarine in the Barents Sea. A planned meeting between the U.S. commander and Putin in Budapest to discuss the war in Ukraine was canceled amid rising tensions. Man, this is not looking good. Once again, you have the White House said, no immediate plans, exit to reschedule. The U.S. Commander-in-Chief has publicly called for peace based on the current battle line, a proposal that the Bear has rejected. Now, Moscow reiterated its demand that Ukraine cede the entire Donbas region, contradicting the U.S. Commander-in-Chief's suggestion that the war should end where forces currently stand. Now, Ukrainian leader Zelensky reportedly did not agree to territorial concession during recent talks. Now, NATO launched its annual Steadfast Noon nuclear deterrence exercise on October 13, involving around 70 aircraft from 14 nations. In a press release, the alliance stressed that the exercise was not linked to any current world event and that no live weapons would be used. What people are saying. So it says here, the Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei on Wednesday, among the relevant negative factors, we highlight the hostile policy of NATO countries, which can lead to a head-on clash between nuclear powers, as well as the development by this self-proclaimed nuclear alliance of schemes and means of the so-called joint nuclear missions, including the expansions of the geography of the U.S. nuclear presence in Europe and the circle of countries to which the delivery of American special munitions to target is delegated. He referred to the buildup of high-precision long-range capabilities by the West for so-called preventive disarming strikes including the forward deployment of ground-based intermediate range and shorter range missiles, and the plans for the U.S. and a number of its allies to launch equipment into space with its transformation into a combat environment. So what happens next? Well, with Russia signaling a potential withdrawal from remaining arms control treaties and NATO intensifying its deterrence posture, diplomatic channels may become even narrower. Now, the risk of miscalculation or escalation remains high, as both sides pursue strategic demonstrations and reject compromise on Ukraine. All right, so that's where we are right now, guys. That is where we at. Once again, you have Russia, they test launched ICBM. At the same time, North Korea, they fired their short-range ballistics. So today was a day that you have ICBM being fired. All right, so North Korea and Russia just test their ICBM stuff. So we are seeing it, we are living it, and we are witnessing Bible prophecy of nation against nation and kingdom against kingdom. All right, guys, I will keep it updated with all these world news events. And once again, there's another shot right there. Jeez. That was a very, very important message there. North Korea and the bear firing ballistic. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that like. Thank you so much for your support. Till next time later. Peace.